Well, welcome back to Rough Restos. This is just a little update on the Capri. For you guys so far, you haven't seen it on the channel now for like a week. When actual fact, I haven't worked on this now for about 5 weeks, I think. Due to various reasons. Obviously the videos come out in a minute, Range Rover based, because I've been working on the Range Rover. I've had family wedding, a friend's wedding to do, work, yeah. It's been rather hectic. So I haven't had much time to work on this, which is a bit annoying because, obviously, as I mentioned in a lot of the previous episodes of the Capri build, I've kind of set myself a deadline on this. And that deadline is fastly approaching. So what it's the 9th of July, I think. And I need, well, my target was this to be on the road for the 28th of August, which is when various other Capri friends sort of come down and meet up. So I went on the road for them. That was always the original plan. So, what have I got to do? So using some rather impressive organising skills, we'll get into this in a minute. Here, on my Broken Biscuits box, here you go, here's our list of what needs to be done. So, what do I need to do on the Capri? So, what needs to be done in order to get this on the road is we need to finish exhaust manifolds, so weld up the bits that are, not sealed there because of design of manifold, as I revealed, I think, in the last episode. The cross member is currently still held up with, I think it was M8 threaded bar. Yeah, I think M8 threaded bar in the end. So I need to cut off the Imperial welded nuts and use my new high tensile bolts and all that, and fix all that. The track rod ends, yep, well, they're both knackered. This one here actually is, the thread's knackered, so it's bodged on entirely. But that was only because of the cross member change. It wasn't like that before. It had all new parts before I went out the power steering rack. To replace track rod ends, do the ARB washers, welding in the bay. That's a fair bit of work, that is. So I also need to weld up anything here that's been altered, try and weld up all the previous repairs that else is done here below the battery tray, weld up the holes I cut in this thing for the boost pipes and all the other stuff. So there's a fair bit of that to do, and then obviously where I've had to change all the flange down here to fit the engine, that's all now obviously 3 separate layers of steel, so that all needs welding up. Yeah, that was below some filler, not my doing. So need to take the engine bay back to bare metal, weld it all up. This part on the back here yet, I still have no idea what I'm going to do with this yet. I need to probably modify a bit more out of this and then make some kind of cover for that. I'm not sure yet. That's a tough one. Technically, doesn't need to be done for MOT. I guess absolute worst case I put some grommet strip on it. But it's obviously, I would like to finish off as much before the MOT as possible, really. Replace all the brake lines, because obviously they were messy before because of various alterations in engine in and outs, but now obviously they've been ruined just ripping the engine in and out. So replace all the brake lines back to the servos at the front here. Moving on. That's an annoying one. So I'll just come back to the car earlier. This here is a brake fluid reservoir. Back there is pipe designed to go into brake fluid reservoir, and it's sweating brake fluid. Thank you, Chinese people. Why not sell a product which is actually designed to work? So I need to get some brake hose there for that, which could be fun, because that's a bit of a pain to buy, but oh well, I'll find some. Got to fix that now. Got to build the radiator shrouds. So it's a stainless cowl to go over here, and the panels at the sides, and a panel at the bottom, which is a fair bit of work, which I'm hoping, well, I'll probably get a bit of help with that from a good mate with some fabrication tools to bend sheet stainless. Got those over there. Retro horn, yep, I ripped all the horn and stuff out. I've got a new horn to go in. Yeah, that's the wiring for it there. It needs to be all fixed, sorted out. Bonnet cable, obviously when I've cut the whole front out here, I've removed the bits that hold the cable in, so I need to fabricate all that and adjust that. The cable's actually a bit short, so I might see if I can buy some universal cable or move the bracket back here and make a linkage it goes to the front. I'm not sure. Wouldn't be a bad idea making an adjustable linkage, to be honest. But yeah, again, it all takes time. Prop shaft. I haven't actually managed to test drive this thing other than up the lane so far. So I'm still unsure about the prop shaft geometry. I'm sure there's something wrong with it. But without doing a proper road test, which I can't legally do at the moment, and I can't do it, our lane's too small and too shaky, and you can't get enough speed. So I'm probably going to have to finish the prop shaft centre bearing bracket or something anyway, and then sort the geometry out obviously once I can test it on the road and know what it's doing. Body welding, that's just check through if there's any actual welding that needs to be done other than the engine bay. It's an old Ford, it probably is. Basically, go and tap the chassis around and see if any more of it's fell apart. Moving on again. Got to make the hose, do all the hose brackets, all this stuff. Just finish all that off. Need a washer bottle obviously because I removed it from here. I could put one back in as a temporary. I might put one back in that hole there. I don't know yet. Or move it to the boot. Depends on time. Check all the electrics. That's a Ford thing, isn't it? Every year before the MOT, I tested all the electrics are working, and a number of lights decided to stop working just before the MOT, so fix all that. Obviously, just alter the tune, finish off, well, not finish a tune up, but just, yeah, make it road usable. Finish the tunnel, so I've got to finish off the selector mount, reseal the tunnel up to stop obviously any fumes and noise coming in, and rebrace it. That's all got to be done yet as well. It's a fair bit of work. Put all the interior back together. Oil leak. Yeah. It leaks oil. So when I take the engine out, do the welding, I'm going to have to find out what part of one of the sumps didn't seal and repair that. What else we got to do? Move the idle control valve. Actually, I need to see what pipe I need for that, because it'd be nice if I keep it under the engine cover, but there's not enough space for it. So I don't know what I'm going to do that yet. I need to move it somewhere. What actually would be ideal if I could plumb it, if there's enough space to plumb it right the way to the front here and extend the wire in, because I've got a good bit of space here, but around the back I really don't have much space. So see if I can move that. And diff leak. Oh, you can't see it now, I'll move the car over it. But yeah, rather move the car forward a few foot earlier, and then I realise now the diff has started leaking since it's been parked up here the last few weeks. So, gonna have to fix the diff. Joys. So that's what needs to be done. It's a nice small list there. Now moving on to my other high-tech list here on the Specsavers contact lens box. Ooh, what can we do with doing? Well, obviously with welding up all the engine bay, ideally paint the engine bay before it all goes back in, because I'm a bit of a tart. Again, doesn't have to be done, but be a shame not to do that. Paint all the engine mounts, gearbox mounts, all that kind of stuff that's been fabricated here. I'm sure we'll need sandblasting paint in. If I get a chance, I kind of wouldn't mind moving all this wiring out of the bay. So all this wiring that's here, I prefer to hide in the inner wings. And if I do that, obviously all the headlight relay is going to be going. So at the same time, I wouldn't mind altering that and fitting something along the lines of BMW headlights. These headlights here are now obviously the worst headlights I've got in any of my cars by far. So obviously whatever I fit has got to be road legal compliant, not blind anyone. But I want the absolute best I can have for what I've got here, so it's probably going to have to be along the lines of some BMW units. Ideally with some little halos. I think that's smart enough a little bit. So if I do decide to do that, I've got to do all that, which again is not a 2-minute job to move all the wiring. It's all going to be taken back into the car, altered, and then rerouted through the inner wings and such. Do a bit of work to my dashboard setup, sort the batteries out for all that. Coolant, I could do with a bigger coolant bottle. I wouldn't mind a bigger one if possible. But again, don't need that to get on the road. Clean the car, it needs that badly. Wouldn't mind treating all the other little bits of rust on this car popping up now. So there's obviously some filler and some rust down there and whatnot. Wouldn't mind just treating it so it doesn't get any worse for now. I have agreed to buy a 2.8 rear axle with an LSD, which it really does need gear ratio wise. Again, doesn't need to be done before it goes on the road. It won't get done before it goes on the road, but could do with doing it. Need some test driving. Yep, can't do it yet. Fix the bonnet where it's got the filler damage and all that stuff on it. So no decals. Decarbon the engine with seafoam and that'll probably get done before it goes on the road. Still haven't got the ECU enclosure yet. Again, that probably won't get done before the MOT. I don't think it matters what's lying in there for the MOT, so that isn't a priority. And when I do that, I want to take my time bending up a bit of stainless, make it nice. Seeing as the electrics is the one thing I'm meant to be okay at. So, oh yeah, and then ideally, there's still a lot of oil on the underside of a car from a Cosworth engine. So, could do with cleaning that up really before the MOT as well. So that's basically where we're at with it. In its current form, despite leaking a ton of oil, it does still run. Should do. Let's just see. It's got no cold start tune, but yep. So it still runs okay. Which is excellent. But far from done. Now, so it's a lot of work to do to it yet. How much time have I got to do it? Well, so it's currently the 9th of July, got to get done by the 28th. In between that now, I've got a couple weekends coming up soon. The next 2 weekends are actually going to be Range Rover and another BMW based, so be on the channel. So a few things booked in for them. I think I've then got the weekend after that free. The weekend after that, I'm at Santa Pod for a weekend, which is not ideal. Well, it is ideal, but not for this thing. When I come back, then I think it gives me three Saturdays before the Monday the 28th. So that's 4 days. And whatever evenings I can squeeze in, but I'm also sorting out the electrics at a friend's house. I just bought a new house and all this as well, plus work, plus keeping everything else going, and yeah. Oh, and just before I forget, this is what I've been doing with paint. So I did actually buy, so what I tried to do is, when I knew I was going to need paint, this car wasn't painted by me. It was, I won't go into details on that, but I did mix the original colour for it out of a couple colours. Now, the colour I thought it was Ford Signal Yellow plus, or sort of a combination really between sort of Ford Signal Yellow, Ford Signal Amber. What I've actually since worked out by looking at different colours is, I think it was actually mixed off of an RAL Signal Yellow and a yellow tinter from what I mixed it with. So I want to keep the same colour. At the minute it doesn't look great in this light, but actually when it's outside in the sunlight it gets more like an orange deeper colour to it, and it's really nice. I love it. Really like the colour. But obviously it was custom mixed years ago. I don't have the colour. So I thought, I'd done my research, and the closest I could find was RAL 1021, which is rape yellow. Probably not the best name for a colour, but that's what it is. So I ordered it up, and typically, like every time I order paint, which is meant to be an RAL colour, it seems to turn up a completely different colour to what it seems like it should be. As the fun I had with a Golf when I ordered what should have been, I think it's called grey blue or blue grey, and it actually turned up as the first colour being bright green and the second colour being grey. So that was completely incorrect. I had to mix my own. Same with this. This colour doesn't match. It's way too greeny and horrible. It's actually probably closer to like the Ford Signal Yellow, more like the Escort-y colour on that. It's horrible green, light twinge, don't like it. So I done my research and worked out what I could add to it to make it better, and I thought, a red. So I chose RAL Traffic Red. That's probably also not Traffic Red, but it's a nice colour red. And I got to mixing a minute ago. I added 5%, way too much. Worked out about 1% is sort of a colour I want. Not sure if you guys can actually see this. Will it show up? I'm going to dim it down a little bit. But right there's 3 colours. There's the 5%, in the middle is the like no 0%, and on the left hand side is about 1% of mixed colour. So about 1% of red in that there makes the colour I want to paint the car in. So I've got to spray out some test cards on that at some point, but that's what the paint's for. I'll be doing all the painting myself, especially because I want it done a lot better than the guy who actually did paint this, because it's terrible. So yeah, that's that. But that again, to paint all this, to take it back to bare metal, that is a huge job. To strip everything out, mask it all up, epoxy prime it, high build prime it, sand it down, paint it. That's like a few days work in itself, which is great when I've got 4 days. So basically, what I'm saying is I've got a lot of work to do and not much time to do it in. 4 days. So I really am going to have to pull my finger out, I think. So I've done that list up now, so I can prioritise what needs to be done versus what I'd like done. Ideally, I'd like it all done. By having a month off, not intentionally, but by having a month off of a project, I got a bit of spark back for it now, which is nice. When you're working your ass off for quite a while on a project, you don't get bored of it, but it gets hard. You do lose motivation for a little while. So having worked on the Golf and the Range Rovers now in between, and had a few weekends off at weddings and such, I think I've got my spark back now, which is nice. The engine's still got a spark. That's nice. So I think I'm just going to have to really push hard now and go for it and see if I can achieve my goal of getting this thing on the road for the summer for the Capri meetup, for a bit of fun. So yeah, I thank you guys for watching. I'm really appreciating the support of this project. This project has really also kicked the channel off again even more. So since Christmas, the channel's just been growing like mad, and a load of that growth is thanks to the L322 content, but even more recently, the Capri content is sort of blown up, and it seems to be going down rather well. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. I am looking into getting some better recording equipment. Wouldn't mind going better quality. So yeah, that might be coming up in the future. But for now, yeah. If you aren't already one of my nice, lovely audience members, then why not subscribe for plenty more. Obviously, there's all the previous builds, like 20 episodes on this car already. There's the episodes when it was the twin turbo Cosworth, there's the Range Rovers, there's the Golf, there's all sorts on the channel. So why not subscribe for more? Like the video if you do actually like it. If you don't like it, well, don't like it, but don't dislike it, because it's no fun, is it? And yeah, drop me a comment, tell me what you think. And with any luck, I'll see you guys again next time. I've been Jordan. Cheers.